Good to see you. I miss you guys. But you know it's spring, and spring means registration for next year. I want to spend just a couple minutes as a wise old principal and give you just a couple pointers, things I want you to remember when you think about next year's schedule. Number one, do not register based on what your friends are doing. Register on what you're interested in. It's going to be a lot more fun if you have an interest in that course that you're taking. Number two, you need to have an appropriate amount of rigor in your schedule. Challenge yourself. Take some of those classes that are going to generate some homework and are going to make you think, and think often. But we also want to encourage you to remember that it's important to enjoy life and to be a kid. You don't have to have 7 excruciatingly tough classes every day for 171 days. Find some of those classes that are going to be more hands-on, they're going to exercise your brain in your hands. Some of those things that are going to give you some lifetime skills. I'm up here in my wood shop. I built this by myself. And part of it is I spent a lot of my high school career taking some tough classes, but I also spent a lot of time in the shops that we had available. And so I developed a keen interest in working with my hands as well as working with my brain. It's important that you take a look at all the classes on that list that are available to you. The business area, the ones I mentioned in art, tech, ed, fax, ag, all of those type of classes, plus the ones in the sciences. Ms. Beauchamp and Mrs. Anderson are going to talk to you about all the requirements. That's going to take you through the kind of classes that you need to prepare yourself for whatever you're going to do after high school. They'll do a great job doing it. And almost lastly, get that schedule handed in as soon as you can. It's very important in the scheduling process. I did it for over 30 years to get all that information in and get it accurate right away, because classes fill up and classes are moved about the schedule based on how you register. And if you hold on to your schedule, you may lose out on some good opportunities. And finally, be nice to the principal.
Welcome to 2020-21 course registration information. Hope you enjoy this.
And there's a lot of information that'll all be shared with you in the course registration guide. Don't hesitate to look in that or email contact us if you have any questions. We are happy to help. Brief rundown, Ms. Beauchamp.
All right, so starting in your 9th grade year, this is the first year that you are going to be earning credits towards graduation. So one of the documents that you're going to have in this email is this 4-year plan, which is projected on the screen. Hopefully you can see it okay. If not, pause the video and open up that document, because it'll be easier if you have that in front of you. But what we're going to do is go through requirements for graduation, because starting in 9th grade you need to make sure you are meeting certain things that you can graduate when you're seniors. So this is the rundown of kind of a plan that you can use, or a document you can use to map this out. You can see in each of the grades we have put in here the classes you're required to take. So as 9th graders, you have to take English, you have to take the geography 9th grade civics class, you have to take physical science, you'll take some kind of math. It'll be for you either intermediate algebra or geometry if you're in the accelerated track. And then you will have 2 trimesters of Phy-Ed, 1 trimester of computers. And then you have 2 elective spots. So on this, each line where there's nothing written in is the equivalent of a year's worth of credit of electives. So it might be a year-long class like choir. It might be 2 semesters, might be like a semester of art and a semester of ag. Those would go on the same line. So this is what you have to take in 9th grade. As you go ahead into 10th grade, you're going to see more English, history, science, and another math. Again, the math will depend on the track that you're on. And then you'll have Phy-Ed and health with room for 2 more electives. Once you guys get into your junior and senior year, it opens up pretty wide as far as how many electives you get to take. You're going to be required to take English and social studies in both your 11th and 12th grade year. You're going to have a 3rd math that you have to take, which is almost always taken the junior year, just because it's hard to take a year off. And you will need a 3rd science in there somewhere. If you look over here at graduation requirements, it tells you what specifically you have to have. So for science, you have to take 9th grade physical science, 10th grade biology. Your final science, you get a choice in, but it has to be in the chemistry or physics area. So it could be chemistry, physics, applied physics, or advanced chemistry, which is a new class. You can take anatomy and physiology, but that doesn't count towards your science credit. It has to be the chemistry and physics requirement. And then the rest is filled in with electives. So that's how you can use this. You have the opportunity to earn 7 credits per year. and you have to have 25 credits in total to graduate. So there's a little bit of a wiggle room there in case you run into trouble. Don't run into trouble, just do your work. But that's the magic number that you're shooting for. Let's go through graduation requirements real quick here, just so you can kind of see by subject what you need. So 4 credits, and a credit here is worth 1 year-long class. So a year of English 9 is going to earn you 1 credit. A semester of studio art in 9th grade is going to earn you half a credit. And credits are how we quantify what you are earning and what areas you earn these in. So 4 credits or 4 years worth of English, 4 of social studies. It has to include in your junior and senior year world history and economics. The science one we talked about, math we've talked about, Phy-Ed, health and computers are all built into required 9th and 10th grade classes. You need to have some kind of art credit somewhere along the line in your high school career. The 7th and 8th grade stuff doesn't count, so it has to be an art class that you've taken 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. But it's more than just like Mrs. Hager's art classes. So you're going to see listed on your sheet the ones that count. It's any art or music class. Digitools, which is a computer class. Business operations is going to be approved this month for art credit. Independent study drafting with Mr. Spear and independent study mass communications or yearbook also can fulfill that. You only have to take one of those. So for example, if you take band your 9th grade year, that one can count as your art. And if you do band 10th, 11th, and 12th grade year, it's going to count as electives. So let's talk about electives now. You have to take 8 credits of them in total, which sounds like a lot, but you really have enough time to take them. Look at all those blanks that you have on your 4-year plan. Electives are basically anything above and beyond the other requirements that are already listed here. So for example, say you take science your 11th grade year and your 12th grade year. So you would have 9th grade is 1, 10th grade is 2, junior year maybe you take chemistry, that's your 3rd science. You only need to have 3. So the 4th one you would take would count as an elective because it's above and beyond the sciences that we require you to take. So electives can come from any subject area, and they can also cover the non-required subject areas. As you're planning out what you want to take over the next 4 years, I'm just going to throw out there the college prep recommendations. So this is what's recommended by colleges in the state of Minnesota, that if you are interested in going on to college at a 2-year school or a 4-year school, they are recommending that these are the numbers and types of classes you should take to be best prepared. That doesn't guarantee you're going to be admitted. Not every school is going to require these to be admitted. This is really just recommendations to be best prepared. They're largely the same with a couple differences. The first is that we are seeing schools requiring 4 years of math. They really want to see you taking math all the way through your senior year, so consider that as you're planning out the next 4 years. The other thing that colleges like to see sometimes is 2 years of the same foreign language. Now we only offer Spanish here, so you may want to consider, especially if you're looking at going to a 4-year college, fitting in at least Spanish 1 and Spanish 2. It's considered a rigorous class, and so those selective 4-year colleges need it. I would say this is not commonly required for 2-year colleges. In fact, I don't know if I've seen any 2-year colleges that require the foreign language. So if that's the route that you're looking at, don't worry so much about the foreign language piece. If you're considering 4-year schools, know that everybody's admissions requirements vary, but this in general is going to keep all those doors open for you so that when you get to be a senior, you are going to be okay.
And also the NCAA clearinghouse. So if you're thinking of playing sports in college at an NCAA school, which would be like MSU Moorhead, not Valley City State or Mayville, but Bemidji State, schools like that require some of the courses like this. They wouldn't require the language courses, however, a lot of them, for the NCAA anyway.
Just to note, the senior service hours is a volunteer thing. You really don't have to worry about that until your junior and senior year. What I do want you to pay attention to, though, is that you have to also pass all of your 7th and 8th grade classes. So while you don't earn credits towards graduation with those, you still have to finish those. And so if you are looking at maybe failing something this year, know that that's going to have to go back into your schedule next year and may bump something else back to later on. So please make sure you're doing your work at home and doing whatever you need to do to pass those classes. If you have questions about graduation requirements as you get into your registration stuff, please let me know, let Mr. Esterby know, let Ms. Anderson know, and we'll help you figure that out. At this point, it just kind of helps you map out what you need to do next. So with that, on to registration.
And a couple things about grade 9 opportunities. Ms. Beauchamps went through the required classes. We are changing a couple things this year for FIED. Those trimester courses, we're offering Computers 9, which you'll have for a trimester, and then you'll have FIED 9 with Miss Brenna, who was a new teacher. She graduated from MSUM this spring. She'll be teaching FIED 9, and then you'll have a trimester with Mr. Nats in the weight room with strength training and doing some different things in there. So that's a great opportunity for our kids and to have a little bit smaller class sizes. Your electives that you can take, there's some year-long electives, which would be band, choir, and Spanish would be your year-long classes. We do have a new band instructor who is starting next year. His name is Mr. Johnson. He comes to us from Concordia.
Woo!
He's graduating this spring, and he will bring some good energy to the band department. And then you can also take some semester courses, which would be Fax 9, Studio Art, Ag 9, Tech 9, or Robotics. So there's opportunities to mix and match there to figure out what you want to take for your grade 9 electives. Stay tuned also for a video on how to exactly register. It's a Google form that will be shared with you, and I'll walk you through the steps on that simple process.
Quick note about Art 9. If you are interested in taking art classes throughout high school or even looking ahead to wanting to take classes next year, Studio Art is kind of the gateway course that Mrs. Hager really wants all art students to take. And so as you're deciding what you want to fit in, please know that if you want to take World of Art later on, or Advanced Art, or Photography, or Ceramics, I think will include that, that she really wants you to take Studio Art at some point. So keep that in mind. That's kind of the one of the few exceptions. Spanish one you can take later on. You can also take Studio Art later on, but most kids take Studio Art their 9th grade year.
That's it. Signing off. Have a great day.
Hello, freshmen. A few more things I'd like to walk you through regarding the registration process. This is the form that you'll be using to register. Make sure that you type in your name. You'll select your math class. Ignore the numbers that are right in front of it. Those are just to help us as we enter the information. And then this year, for the first time, you get to select 2 credits. Now, 1 credit equals a year-long course. If you take 2 semester courses, they would equal 1 full year or 1 credit. So you get to select 2 credits worth from classes here. For example, you could take band and choir. Those would be your 2 elective credits. You could take Spanish along with Studio Art and Fax. Those are some options there. A couple more things I'd like to draw your attention to. This is the master schedule. It gives you an idea of where the classes are placed. The computer will pick where your elective or your general classes fall, such as civics or physical science or English 9. And another useful document is the registration guide. This includes all of the course descriptions for all of the courses that we offer in the high school this year. It includes the graduation requirements, reminder starting in 9th grade. You need to pay special attention to those graduation requirements. Some example schedules, and then here, like I said, is where you can find all of those course descriptions. If you have any questions on the registration process, how it works, any of the courses, please don't be afraid to reach out. We're happy to help.